Hello. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about Fanuc robot and the basic operation of the Fanuc robot. This video will help the operators, all the beginners for Fanuc who works with Fanuc robot to understand the basic concept and the operation that goes with Fanuc robot. So to start now, I'm gonna show that this is the controller for Fanuc robot and the pendant. Um, you need to know that on the controller there is a key that you can turn the robot in auto or manual. This is very important whenever you want to jog the robot. You're gonna have to switch the key to manual, where the hand icon is, and if you want it to run in auto, you have to put it back in auto. Also in the controller, you can see reset faults and cycle start button. And these are you control, like whoever programmed the robot can control if these can have any effect on the robot or not. Depends on what controlling the robot. If the robot is a standalone, then definitely these are controlling the robot, resetting the alarms and start the robot. If the robot controlled by PLC or any other controller, then maybe these will not be used. They could be still using, they could still use them, but most likely they will not be using these. They will be using the HMI and the PLC to reset the alarms and control the robot, control the movement of the robot. We'll go in more details in that, but that's the main controller. Um, Here is the USB board if you want to make a backup for the programs or image the whole robot. This is the USB, obviously e-stop, control power, disconnect power, some indicator lights, and this one is the pendant. Uh, and and here I have this pendant that I'm gonna be using in my video since I'm using the software. What you need to know is just I'm gonna be talking about random important thing. What I think you need to know is edit button here. It bring you back to the program that is running. Any program that the robot is running currently, if the robot is in auto, for example, or in manual, and there is a selected program that robot is using right now, edit button will bring you always to that one. So by mistake, while you holding the pendant, you pressed that on select button and it got you out, and now you don't know which program was running. It bring you back. The same thing. Doesn't matter where you gone. Like doesn't matter which screen it's open right now. It will bring you back to the program that is running. For example, select. Select is it brings you to the all programs that this pendant has. So it brings you to the menu, the main menu, where you can select which program you want to run. So I select main, press enter. Now main is open, and that was edit and select. Data it used for registers. So whenever you need to go to the registers or even position registers, you press data and it takes you between them. So these register and position register, I can explain them later in this video more in details, but these kind of memory location that you use them in your program to save data, save timer value, save position value. When you say about position, that's what position register. That's the difference between register and position register. Position register is just for positions, access positions, and it's a 6 axis. Register it's just one number. You can save one access position, or you can save a timer or a counter, stuff like our set point. You can use these R's for those data. Now, let's start looking into speed, for example. Speed here, these two for the speed. You can see here my 100 means my robot speed is 100. With this, you can go up and down. And if you don't press shift, it go by 5 like you see now. If I want to press shift, and here I can just press it, it holds by itself. But in real life, you have to push it and hold it. You have to hold it to keep it pressed. And then now when I go, you see like it jumped by 50. And when it's go to the 5, it goes to 1. Um, Release shift, again, it does it by 5. So that's the speed. How can you run? Let's talk about jogging the robot. To jog the robot, don't forget you have to put the key on the control, the main controller that I showed in the beginning of the video. You have to put it in T1 or where's the hand icon is, which is manual. And also on the pendant itself. Let me go back to that one. Oh. In the pendant itself, right here in my pendant is right here, but in the real pendant it's right this. This key is this for me. It needs to be in on. So while you're running the robot in auto, the control panel key needs to be in auto and the pendant needs to be off. The pendant key needs to be off. But when you want to jog it, or if you want to edit anything in the program, you want to add something, do anything in the program in the pendant, and also to jog the robot, this switch on the pendant needs to be on, which means activate the pendant. Back here. So my pendant is on, and my controller is in manual. So now I can hold the dead man. The dead man is behind the pendant, in the back of the pendant. There is a dead man. You hold the dead man and you hold the shift. So both you have to hold them and keep holding them. And while you're holding them, if the real pendant, there will be a light here to show you if there's an alarm. If there is an alarm, you reset the alarm by pressing reset here until the red light, the red LED turn off. That means there's no alarms and there will be no messages, alarms in the top of the pendant right here. Then if that's the case, now you are good to go. While holding the dead man and the shift, you can jog the robot to whatever side you want. And you hold the X, it go to X plus, you hold the X minus, it go to X minus, Y, and all that stuff. Now, every robot has coordinates. You choose what coordinates you want to use to jog the robot by this button, coordinate. Release the shift, don't press the shift, just press the coordinate by itself, and right here it show you, which is here it shows you what is selected, and in the yellow right here you will see what the coordinate right now. You see that? Joined, word, tool, user, all this. You can use any coordinate you want to jog the robot, and this is these coordinate. I don't think so. I have a video yet about him, but in the summary quickly, word it takes it consider the base of the robot while jogging the robot. When you say X, it will be looking at the base of the robot, and it goes X direction from the base of the robot. That's what word is considering the base of the robot. Tool and user, those you have to configure them if you want to use them. The tool will be using the robot into like the flange of the robot. If you didn't configure it, then the tool, instead of depends on the base of the robot, will be depending on the flange of the robot. And if you configured it to your tool, to your end of arm tool, to your gripper, then it will use whatever you used, which side or which point you use in your gripper to be the reference for your tool. User, we use the user we configure it depends on the machine that we are picking up the parts or loading the parts or we dealing with the robot. That's what user. So, and if you don't configure them, the user will be like the word, depending on the base of the robot, if you don't configure the user to the machine that you have or the conveyor. The other important one is joint. Joint, now you're jogging each axis separate. So the difference between joint and every other one is every other coordinate will use like word tool user will they will use the six axis. They will move the six axis in the same time. Depends what direction you're going. They will allow the six axis to move in the same time to get you where you need to go. But if you choose one more joint, now you choose depends on these. This is axis one, J1. That's what the J joint 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This robot has 6 joint. The base, the all the way in the bottom, the base is 1, and all the way in the top where the flange is 6. So 1 to 6. Now you choose, since I have it joint, now I choose which joint I want it to move. So hold the dead man again, hold the shift again, while holding the dead man and the shift, reset any alarm, and then jog which joint you want. X, Z, which is 3. I want to say 3 and 1 and 2. I should say number when I am jogging by joint because it depends on the joint number. No more X, Y, Z. There is no space anymore. Now I'm moving each joint by itself. I'm not using the space around the robot for my movement. But if I use word or tool or base or user, then I'm talking about the space, a point in the space around the robot. Okay, so that's how you join. That's how you jog the robot. Let's go up a little bit. And then while jogging, this is my speed, so I can control the speed while it's moving. So now, for example, I have this is how to jog it manually. There's another way to move the robot through the program. If there is a program and the robot, you stop the robot in one point and now you want to go through the program, run the program manually and let the robot move where the program is programmed for. So to do that, you go to the move in the program. You're still holding the dead man and the shift. The robot will never move if one of those are not selected, if not hold, pushed, pressed. The dead man and the shift, they have to be hold for the robot to move. And there is two shifts. The pendant has two shifts in case you want to use right hand or left hand, and also it has two dead mans in the back in case which hand you want to use, left or right. So you can give a break to your hands. And now I can hold the dead man and the shift and press forward. This will execute. The robot will execute this line, which is J is a movement. We have linear movement and we have joint movement, and J is a movement. So if you highlight it and you hold the dead man and shift and you press forward, the robot will start moving. What's this position is? Where's this position? So let's do it. I'm holding the dead man and the shift, press forward. So the robot moved to that. And you notice that the robot now kept going. It didn't just do that command, it kept going. Why? Because I didn't tell it to go step by step. I just told it to go. I didn't tell it to go step by step. So if I want to tell it to go step by step, I turn on step. You see, I turn it on. This is step is off. This is the button that I turn on and off. And this is the indicator in the top. It tells me if it's in the step by step or not. So if it is step by step and I want it to run the robot, so I turn the step I'm holding the dead man and the shift. I press forward. Now the robot will execute one line. So let me explain that one more time. If I have the step is on, if I have the step is on, the robot will execute each number of these lines by pressing forward once. If I want to go to number 19, I have to press forward once. There you go, it went to 19. And then it will stop. It will not continue. If I want to go to number 20, oh, now this is a call. So actually it's gonna, now when I press forward one more time, like which is like go ahead, next step, it's gonna execute number 19 now. Number 19, what it tells it tells it to call this program. This is another program, number 19, line number 19, it execute this program. So if I press forward, right now we are in the main. Next time I press forward, we will be inside this program. Let's do it. And you have to hold dead man shift forward one time. Now we are inside this program. Now press forward is gonna keep going line by line. Every time I press forward, it's gonna keep line by line. Now it's number 7. If I press forward, it's gonna execute this line. It's gonna execute this movement. It's a J movement. J and L are movement. Linear or joint. Now it's gonna execute number 7 when I press forward. There you go. And it's gonna go to that position and then it's gonna stop. Waiting for me to press forward again. There you go. To go to the next position. Now it reached this position. How I know it reached this position? By this symbol at. It shows me at this line. That's mean the robot at there. If I want to go backward, if I want to go back to number 7, I go backward, holding the dead man, the shift, I press backward. Now I'm in the back. You see the at moved to number 7. The difference between forward and backward also doesn't matter if I'm selecting step or not. Like for example, if I'm selecting step now and I go forward, it's gonna go one line and stops. But even if I'm not selecting steps and I go backward, only it's gonna go one line. So backward by default is step by step. Forward is not step by step unless I select step. So right now I'm not selecting step. I press forward. We will execute the whole program here and we're gonna end up getting out of it too. So forward, you see, is executing the whole thing. So I'm gonna press step again so the robot stop. And now I'm gonna actually, there's another way to stop the robot. Let me take a step off, run forward. Now the robot is moving. I can press hold. Hold, it will hold the robot in position when I press it. So I'm gonna press it now. The robot hold. How the robot can continue after that, I have to press forward again. Forward again, the robot start moving. And it's gonna do the whole programs. And it's gonna be jumping between programs because I run the main program which is calls every other program. What if I want to run only one specific program and I don't want the robot to exit that program and run different programs? So what should I do? For example, let's go to select the program and let's select this program right here. And I want the robot to run this program and not go away just to test this program. I made this program new, for example. I want to test this one. I don't want to, and I don't want to go step by step. Which is if it's a new program, you better go step by step the first time at least. But you did all this, everything good, and now you want to run it all of it in one time, and you want the robot to stop at the end. Make sure you do this: function abort. Function abort. That what does that mean? You abort the program that was selected, which is we ran when we start running a little bit ago. We were selecting the main, and the main was calling all these different programs, So the Ruba will go in the first program that was called by main, and then when it finished it, when it reached the end, it was going back to the main program, and the main program was calling another program. So every time the Ruba reached the end, it go back to the main, and the main was calling another program. You want to exit the main program, you want to abort all this by pressing function abort. Now if you come inside this program that you want to, the only program you want to run, and run this, now the Ruba will stop at the end because this program is not calling anything else. If this program calling something else, the Ruba will come back here. But this program will not calling anything else, so the Ruba will run number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then stop at the end. So let's do it without having the step selected. While pressing Didman and Shift, press forward. The Ruba will execute all these lines and then stops. Press forward one more time. Ruba will execute them and stops. If I have a step, I have to press forward for each line. Now here, I'm pressing forward for each line. Ruba went in, stopped, push forward again. Ruba did this position, push forward again. Ruba did the last position, J. All right, that was all these. Now, so we talked about that. So this is the most important thing. Display. Let me explain display. Display. If you press it, and you have to have shift pressed, press shift, and then press display. It gives you this menu. It gives you the option to divide your screen. Right now I have one screen. I'm looking at one screen. What if I want to do screens? I want to split this in half. I hold shift, display. You don't need Didman for that. Didman, you need it only for movement. Shift, you need it for movement and some other function. For example, this function, display. I want to split my screen. I have to hold shift, and then while I'm holding shift, I press display. It gives me this menu. Now I press double. Now I have two screens. Again, shift and display. I can go 2, 3, 4, single, wide, single, normal. You can go all these different uh, ways of displaying. So now I have two screens. Let me go double again. Now I have two screens. I release the shift. How can I go between them? You see here in the top, where's my mouse now? One of them is dark, one of them is gray out. The dark one is the selected one. So now if I press display without shift, if I press display, it jumps to the other screen. Press display again, I'm back here. Since I'm here I want to look at the select, for example. I want to see all the menu, or go back to my program, for example. But in the other screen, I want to press display now. In this screen, I want to see my data. I want to see my register. So that way I can watch my Ruba while I'm looking at the register. If in case in this program that I'm updating some values on the registers, I can see the values updated while I'm watching the Ruba running too. That's one thing. It's good. So that's the display, and back and forth between them, it'll let you do. And notice the menu in the bottom, it changed depends on what type of screen you have open. If you have register open, then you don't have point and edit and all that stuff. But if you are in a program, you have this option. Depends what screen you open, that's the option in the bottom, it changed. All right. The other one is position. So let me go to this screen, number 2 here, and I press position. Here it tells me the Ruba access position. It shows them as a joint, but if I press on the word here, it shows them as XYZ and WPR. So if you want to go back to joint, you go back to joint. Word, depends how you want to see them. That's the Ruba position. IO is the input and output. When you press IO, depends what the last page you opened. on the input and output. That's what's going to show. But if you go to type, it shows you all the option of the input and output. There is a lot of option in the input and output. There's digital ones. There's analog. They have a group input output, Ruba input output, UOP, SOP, all these different flags. If you go to the next screen, you see the flags and the link device. So digital output, you select digital output, for example, it shows you to open the DO. Here down it says in out. You can switch between input and output. And if you highlight this screen, you will see that on off. So as an output, since you can control the output, you can turn on, change to on, or off, change to off. You press on, change it on, you press off, change it off. That's the DO. The input, obviously, you cannot turn it on and off, but what you can do is select the U, highlight the U. Now it gives you simulate. You change the U, which is unsimulate, to S, which is means simulate. Now you can go back to the where it shows off and you press on. Now it changes it on. The DI, you can simulate it to on and off, but first you have to change the simulation status from unsimulated to simulated. So and then you go back to the on off and you press on or off, depends what you want. And then you press this unsimulation to go to the again to the un, and now you cannot change the position. Here, if you go in the space next to it, if you go next here, there is a T-tail. If you press T-tail, you can edit the name of it. You can press enter. Now here, for example, keyboard, and now here you put what this is for. If is it you can select name it whatever you want, for example, and you exit. Now this is the name. You go back now, reverse. Now the name for this DI is this. So you can enter a name for these inputs and output. I'm not going to talk about configuration. This is how you configure the digital input and output between Aruba and BLC, or Aruba and another Aruba, stuff like that, outside Word. That's how you configure. You have to go to configure when you are in DI and DO and configure that. This video not gonna go that deep. Something else here that the operator, for example, level need to know. Let's see. So in menu, mostly it's for programming because you can get to the IO, you can get to the position, you can get to all that stuff from these buttons. You don't have to really to go to menu unless you want to get into programming, configuring, and commissioning the Ruba. Then you need to know a lot. Alarm, actually, you can on menu, press in menu, you can go to alarm and you go to alarm log, and then you see your alarms. And if you want to see in the history, you press hist. It gives you the history of the alarm. And if you want to see just the active one, you press active. It tells you if there's any active alarm. So yeah, alarm is good. What else? Let's see. Let's go through them quickly and see if there's anything. IO, we can get there. This is very important, but not for operator. File, if you want to actually take a copy of the Ruba, I have another video how to back up the program. If you want to back up the program and before you do anything, just to make sure you have a backup, you can watch my other video about the backup, but that's how you get to it from file. Next, another menu, select data. You can go to data from a different button. Okay, so yeah. So menu, maybe it helps for the operator level. Maybe the alarm is the best thing when you go to menu. Um, Function, as we said, abort all. That's the most important on function. Abort all uh, to abort the program. For example, you put you stop the program for some reason and you want to run the program again. You home the Ruba and you want to run the program and you don't know what program is selected, whatever, or you selected a program by mistake. Just press function number one. You either press number one or press abort. It will exit it, and then the PLC will call the main program again and run the Ruba by itself. Some tool one, tool two, those are configured keys. The engineer who programmed the robot can use them for whatever he wants. For example, open the finger of the gripper, close the finger of the gripper, and stuff like that. But it depends on the programmer. Okay, so maybe in different video, I don't want to make this video very long. In a different video, I will start explaining about how to add uh, movements, how to add the joint, how to add the linear, and let me go display to this line, and which is using these. Let me see. Actually, here there's menu. Let me explain just quickly. Here, this button point is what makes you add point, and oh, it added one, and then touch up. Okay, let me explain touch up quickly. So, for example, I jog the Ruba, I go did man, I go shift, I jog the Ruba where I wanted it to, right? And then I stop, and then I say, okay, now I'm gonna I'm gonna add a new point, so I don't want to mess up these. I'm gonna add a new point. So to add a new point, you press point, and then what do you want to add, J or L? And like I said, I will explain those in a different video. I added J, for example, and now I want to move the Ruba. So did man shift, move the Ruba, for example. There you go. This is the new position I want. And now I want to touch up. Shift, you don't have to press did man, no need the did man. I'm not moving the Ruba, I'm just going to touch up. Shift, I have to hold shift and touch up. Now I have at on the Ruba. That means I touch it up, and also it should show the message here. So let me jog the robot one more time. For example, I want to change the position. I want to touch it up here actually now. Now I have at, so that means this position it was touched up to this position of the robot. That's how you touch up. If you go next, you get a different menu which is insert and edit command. Insert, that's where we get our commands. That's how we enter functions and all that stuff. Registers, IOs, if statement, wait statement, jump, call, and more miscellaneous. If we go to the next screen, we can add the skip for a program, payload, all this extra stuff that we need for programming the robot. Most of it is an insert. If I want to go to edit command, I can insert empty line, for example. I'm highlighting the line number 3. If I press insert number 1 and then I press here, oh, here is not showing. Okay, I was wondering. Let's see. Is it showing it now? Oh yeah, here you go. It was not showing these lines. It should be showing it. So I'm gonna do it again. So number 3, I'm highlighting number 3 and I go to edit command. I want to insert empty line. I press number 1, insert, and here it's asking me how many lines to insert. I would say insert 5 empty lines, and then I press 5, enter. Now I have 5 empty line above the one I was highlighted. What else here? Delete. Okay, I can press delete, and it tells me what do you want to delete. Do you want to delete only number 3, or I can with the arrows I can say delete 3 and 4, and then yes, delete. Now it deleted those lines 3 and 4 and shift everything up. Copy and cut. I press copy and cut. After, like, go back here again. Edit command, copy and cut. Now it asks me, do you want to paste or you want to select? If you didn't copy yet or cut, then you have to go select first, and then before you press select, you can go previous here. You can go previous as by mistake. You press select early. You go previous, go here. Now you highlight what do you want to select, and then select it, and then you can cut it or copy it. I did copy, for example, and then I go to number 4. I copied number 6. Now I want to paste it on number 4. I press paste. Now it asks me is a logic, is a position ID, is a position. Since I copied a position, it's not a logic. Logic, for example, like if statement or waiting statement or case or something like that, not movement. You can use logic, but since I used a movement, since I used a J command, movement command, I use position. If I use logic, it will paste a position, but it's not gonna base the same position number 4 is. Point number 4 is like this line number 6. Yeah, the name of this line is BP4, which is point number 4. This point has an actual position, which is where the robot now, for example. If I based it as a logic, it will not take the actual position with it. It's not going to take the position that saved in this point with this. Let me do an example. Logic. I want to paste it as a logic. You see? It pasted it, but it didn't take the point. So now this line number 4, it has no position. I have to move the robot or touch up. I have to do touch up. But if I come to number 5 here, empty, and paste it one more time, but this time instead of using logic, I use position. Now it has a position. You see, it filled it up. It gave me a different point number. That's good. It's not going to give you the same number, but it has the now number 5 and number 4. You see, both of them has at, because both of them have the same position. So I can go to number 4 here, either delete it if I did a mistake, or I can just go back here previous to go back to the previous menu. There you go. And then touch up while holding shift, touch up. Now all of them has the same position, for example. So that's the, let me go back to edit command. That's the cut and copy. Find if you wanna, if there's a long program and you wanna find a specific point or label or whatever, you press find. What you trying to find? You're trying to find the register and IO, and then you, for example, IO, and then is it DO or DI? Is it DO? Okay, what's the DO number? 5. Okay, press enter. I don't have it here. Obviously, it's not gonna find it. But if I have DO5, it will find it. It will jump to it. Replace, the same thing if you want to replace something with the other. Renumber, what it does, you see how I have 654? If I press renumber, it will renumber all these positions, all these points. The position will stay the same, so there is nothing dangerous of doing this anytime you want. It's just gonna reorganize the number. Line number 4, which is P6, it becomes P1 since it's the first movement. But the actual position that this line has, it will stay the same. So let's do renumber, for example. Are you sure? Yep. There you go. Oh, what it did. Let's see. Renumber. Yeah. Not sure why. Oh, shift is selected. My bad. Shift was selected, didn't take my OK. So okay, renumber. Are you sure? Yes. There you go. Renumber them. Okay. Now I have 1, 2, 3, just to look nicer. That's all. All right. What next? Comment. If you wanna, here you go. Do if you, for example, let me do delete that, for example. Let me go delete. Oh, shoot. I'm gonna delete number 4. Yes. So, and now it's, oh no, I need it. Undo. Yes. It bring number 4. But it doesn't undo a lot. I think it, let me see. It doesn't undo. Let me delete this. Let me delete this. Let me delete this. So I deleted 3 things. So I wanna undo. Yes. Undo. Yes. You see, it's just one. It didn't do more than one. Undo. So it goes back only to the last uh, action. So be careful. Remark. Yeah. So remark, whatever you're highlighting, for example, I'm highlighting 4 and 5. If I press remark, now those are commented out. They are not used anymore. So the Ruba will skip those lines. Same thing if you're gonna highlight it, edit command, remark, unremark. Now it's not commented out anymore. Icon editor, you know what is that? It's show you this windows. You can go back to the way to get rid of it. Exit icon. There you go. I'm exiting it. Color IO status. That's not a big deal. So that's the most important for you. Oh, if you want to add a comment above the line to show what it is, you're gonna go to insert, miscellaneous, and then you go to I think remark. Yeah, remark, and here you go. Now you can add a comment here. So you can press on it, press enter, and you type whatever your comment is, press enter. Now this is just a comment to explain what's the logic doing. For example, what line number 7 is gonna do. It's gonna go above the conveyor. You can press here, right here above the conveyor. So this is just a comment to explain what you're doing. Um, right? I think miscellaneous has other stuff, but I will explain it later. You can type a message. That's very good. I want to make another video for message and user alarm and all that stuff because there's will be a lot of examples here. I don't want to include it with this video, but if you have any question, I'm gonna post like after I post this video. If you have any question, um, ask me. I can go back and explain to you in the message or reply to your message, or if it's needs a lot of explanation, I can make a video for it. But I think this is the basic thing for Fanuc pendant that you might need to know. All right, thank you very much.